It is good to see you.
Yeah, it's really good to see you
This is
too.
exciting to be in Provincetown this weekend.
It's my first time here.
You're kidding.
This is kind of lesbian typical. Throw some lipstick on and hope for the best.
Foot
five, what's that?
High five with your feet.
You can do that.
I've been coming here for 30 years with NGPA.
You've been in NGPA since 1993.
Okay, let's not put any old labels on this. Thank you very much. And how did you find out about NGPA?
I found out about NGPA because of Jan Anderson.
Okay, big surprise there.
I love Jan. I knew that I wanted to become a pilot. I didn't really know how to become, so I was just doing all the research. That's when she started telling me about NGPA, and that was about a month before Oshkosh. Sure enough, I went up there and went camping at Oshkosh.
You camped at Oshkosh.
I'm pretty sure I car camped though, so I have a Subaru.
You know, the first Oshkosh, when NGPA attended Oshkosh for the first time, we did it rather covertly. Because even then, that would have been in '94. And there wasn't room to be gay in aviation. And so we met quietly and privately in front of the NASA hangar at 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, 11 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon.
In the early days, we kind of developed our gaydar and we learned to find each other. And I did discover a gay community within the military, but I couldn't be out.
I feel like I've been very lucky from early teenage years to not ever have to deliberately hide.
Right.
I can't imagine how hard that must have been.
You got used to being discreet and basically hiding who you were from the general public.
Do you feel like NGPA was a large part of your kind of community? Because when you can't really be yourself to everybody in your day-to-day life, your professional life, you know, which...
NGPA was wonderful to meet other gay airline pilots and know that there was this network of folks and they were advocating for better treatment by the airlines.
Things changed a little bit after Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It was kind of funny because my last skipper, like, oh, we're gonna have a barbecue, and he'd look at me and he goes, and we're gonna have 2 Barbra Streisand CDs and a bottle of White Zinfandel for Dunway. So it was kind of like the worst kept secret in the Navy, if you will. It wasn't like people didn't know, but there's a difference between knowing something and being able to prove something.
Walked that fine line.
You show me the proof.
When did you start talking about it to people? Or when did you start first feeling comfortable?
I was outed.
What happened?
My ex-girlfriend had outed me. We got back from a trip and the chief pilot met me as I get off the airplane and said, in my office now. And I went, the chief pilots don't do that. And I felt such relief that the day had finally come. I didn't have to hide anymore because I didn't have to be anymore. He said, I know that you're gay. If anyone says anything or does anything to you, you let me know and I'm going to take care of them myself. What was my last day turned out to be my first day because he just gave me the freedom to be me. When I thought it was over, it wasn't.
Finally, one day I was a captain at my airline later on, and this co-pilot turned to me and said, are you gay? And the way he said it, I just looked at him and I said, if you're asking me the question, you already know the answer. Later on, I would take a girlfriend with me on a layover and she would ride in the van and the crew's looking around going, ha, Lucy, this woman's going with Lucy on the layover. They must be dating,
Yeah, this is just my good friend. We're just
I was
old good
say,
friends.
Oh yeah, this is my friend.
Just
and
good friends.
Then we spend the night in the layover hotel
Yeah.
and they're probably going.
Just gals
The
being
flight
pals.
attendants especially are probably going, oh geez.
Typically when you sit down with a new set of pilots, the questions always come up. What was your background? Then it moves on to, do you have children and things? And when I say, yeah, I have 7 kids. Oh, what's your wife do? That's why I said I had children, but I never said I had a wife. So, I said I came out when I was 30 years old. I'm almost 61. I still have to come out every single day at work.
When NGPA finally had a booth at Women in Aviation, that was in, I want to say 2007. That was the first time I was out in a public setting. Said, you know what, I'm out now because all these people had prayed by that knew me, but they didn't know I was gay, and they're looking at me and looking at the NGPA sign and go, oh, make 2 and 2 together.
So you've had a lot of involvement with advertising for NGPA.
So back when we had a blowout crowd with 50 people, everybody did a little bit of volunteer work. So I was the advertising department. And I had an ad that we took out was with the pilots union. So I get this very terse letter back saying, we're not taking your ad because the union has no gay members. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, I know 75 of those guys.
I was going to say, right.
So, quit, trying to blow sunshine
sure
at me.
about that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They discontinued taking ads in the back of the magazine versus taking NGPA's ad, to having many years later a presence at a job fair because they want to make sure, hey, the union's got your back.
How did you feel when you went to school and met the other flight attendants? Were they like you? Was being gay then okay?
No, even then, that was 2013, and this is before the Marriage Equality Act. And I just wouldn't say anything. I'd be like, oh, okay. Or they'd ask, do you have a boyfriend, or are you married? Do you have kids? And I'd say, no boyfriend. Just, yeah, I'm single now. And then once they knew, or they thought that I wasn't gay, then they then felt open to kind of give me their opinions. You kind of get sick and tired of it, right? It gave me fuel to then be louder.
There's still you don't talk about sex, politics, or religion. Those topics are still, let's avoid those just to keep things out. But I think the conversation is also steering towards gender identity or sexual identity as it relates to the large part of our social lives. Like, we don't need to talk about sex to talk about the people that we love or the people that we are. So when I would do my all crew briefing, as a captain at the regionals, and I was adding my pronouns to them. I was saying, hi, my name's Corey, they, them, or she, her.
It's been a great conversation starter when you get a straight white person on the flight deck who says, why do we need all this DEI? And I said, it's simply a conversation starter for us so that we can get rid of some of the distractions that exist. A gay pilot having to worry about the reaction of his flying partner is a major distraction.
I feel like I have to make that choice of whether or not I choose to just take my identity out of the picture, kind of erase that element of me, and not assert myself in erasing who I am in the process.
Acknowledging each person's name and identity is critical to the mission.
I
How are you
think
going to
so.
communicate
Yeah.
if they don't know what to call you? So
Yeah.
you have every right to assert yourself to make sure that you're properly addressed.
Yeah.
So my first NGPA event is where I met you. It was Palm Springs 2017. And so I posted a photo, and I hesitated before I posted it too, because I thought to myself, when I post this is basically saying I'm part of the National Gay Pilots Association. And as a CFI at the flight school I was at, I wasn't completely out to everyone. And so I wasn't sure what effect this might have on my career and future career. But I decided I wanted to be true and authentic to myself, so I posted
It'd be
it.
fun to know if there was any students that you got because they had seen that post, where they might not have never seen it or said anything to you directly, but that was the determining factor. It's like, oh, I want him to be my flight instructor because I know that I can relax a little bit and I don't need to worry about that. We just need to keep making the circle bigger.
The NGPA has given me the strength and the energy to be who I am at work. In the 90s, I could never have envisioned the NGPA of 2023. It wasn't until I started listening with an educated ear to the stories of others that's allowed me to be more comfortable with who I am, but also to be an advocate for you.
Cheers.
Cheers.